The spirit soul is full of real knowledge. Why is he bewildered? Spirit soul is very small. 1/10,000th the tip of a hair. Minute chit kona. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains Vaini Esha Gulamaya Mamamaya Durakaya. That this material energy is also an energy of Krishna. So the material energy is much bigger than the individual spirit souls. Therefore the material energy has the power to put them the small, minute spiritual sparks under illusion. It's not ordinary energy, this is also a divine energy of Krishna, with the specific purpose of bewildering us. So because of the Supreme Lord's empowering His material energy, therefore we can be put into illusion. Then Krishna says, Mameva Jayapataka Swami. If somebody surrenders to me, but I'll firstly protect him. I'll pass them over. This material bewilderment and material energy. If we take shelter of Krishna, we can get over any kind of bewilderment. So Maya operated again. We may have some little knowledge, but that knowledge gets bewildered and stolen away by illusion. Because we are the Tatastha Shakti or Madhyastha Shakti, we are the small intermediate energy between the material and the spiritual. So we're part of the spiritual because we're so minute. We have to be always under the shelter of a more powerful energy. So if we're not sheltered by the spiritual energy, then we get controlled by the material. So how many of you want to be under the shelter of the material energy? How many want to be under the shelter of the spiritual energy? How many want to be under Krishna's shelter? Okay, very good. Thank you. If in my list, last list, my last trip to Mayapur, quite a few people were talking about effulgence on the face of Srila Prabhupada. Could you please give us your impressions on this topic? Nobody mentioned to me. But Prabhupada's face always looking very effulgent. Prabhupada is present and his deities in Mayapur. In the Samadhi temple, very much present, and also even on the very far away. How can we serve you from here? How many want to serve him? Not so many. Not so much fun. So whatever service you're doing for the deities or the projects, that's also a service to me. I feel like I'm an intensive care.
I'll take a shot.
I have 5 ways that devotees who want to help me can help me. But since there are not so many here who want to help, and I'll tell some other times as to those who want to help. Somebody wanted to help? Is that a majority?
Yes.
Help me to fulfill Prabhupada's mission. So there's 5 ways that someone who wants to live. One is by being Krishna conscious, chanting Hare Krishna, serving Krishna, reading Prabhupada's books, doing sadhana bhakti. Because by doing Krishna conscious sadhana, chanting, that helps me to see that you get back to Krishna, which is my goal. See everybody in Krishna conscious back. The second one is to help me by preaching, telling other people about the glories of Krishna. Could be through book distribution, could be through congregational preaching or any kind of propagation of the glories of Krishna. Third is to serving the Vaishnavas. If I want to serve the Vaishnavas, if I'm able to serve any Vaishnava, and also the service. Fourth is sometimes doing some personal service, when it's doing here or does also include serving the first one includes serving the group. Fifth one is that somehow we keep in contact with communication to serve you better. So those 5 basic ways that we can serve you. First, why do difficulties come even if we are a devotee? Notice where we're living. Are we living in the spiritual world? We're living in the material world. So Krishna says that this material world is a dukkhalaya. It's a place of suffering. Dukkhalaya asasvatam. Everybody who lives here faces some difficulties. So we take those as opportunities for us to serve Krishna more, to overcome the difficulties. Pandavas were serious devotees. Did they ever have to face any difficulty?
Too many.
Compared to what they had to face, we don't face any difficulty. We have to face like the difficulty which are like the mountain. Queen Kunti, she was also praying. But whenever we had a difficulty, we were forced to remember you, Krishna, and we came to you for help, and you always helped us. So in difficulty, you were always by our side. But now we don't have any more difficulty. Now all the enemies have been killed, or destroyed, or conquered, or whatever. We're not facing any more difficulty now, but now you're leaving us. So by having difficulty, you'll be with us. And by having no difficulty, you won't be with us. Then please give us more difficulty. Because we want to always be in your association. So maybe to reanalyze our own consciousness, what type of viewpoint we have. The devotees are not anxious for just having no difficulty. They know difficulties are also tests. When we're in difficulties, we remember Krishna. We take shelter of Krishna. And even comfort and success is also a kind of test. Because sometimes people remember Krishna when they're in difficulty. But when there's no difficulty, they think, why remember Krishna? Everything's going okay. So that's also actually a test that we should remember Krishna all the time. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, you can squeeze a little bit more here. He prayed, Vipode Sampode, Jivane Morane. That I want to remember you in my danger and in my success. While living or while dying. Such is so all this difficulty, actually should take it as a blessing. Sometimes by difficulty we get more close to Krishna. We learn to take shelter of Krishna more. There's also one saying in Sanskrit. The more you rub sandalwood, the more the sweet fragrance comes out. The more you beat the sugar cane, the more the sweet juice comes out. The more you burn gold and melt it, the purer and the shinier it becomes. Like this, the more that devotees are put into difficulty, the more that their good qualities are revealed. And such devotees, even at the time of death, they will also be successful and will cross over the ocean of death and achieve eternal life. You never know how strong somebody is until they're put in difficulty. Right? If everybody here can say, I can lift 100 kilos. You won't know unless you put 100 kilo down and see who can lift it. Talk is cheap, right? So who can actually take shelter of Krishna in difficulty and also in success? I know one devotee, he got a big inheritance and he thought, I was following all these rules and regulations and practicing everything because I was suffering like anything. I didn't have anything. Now I got inheritance, I got money, so why should I do all this austerity? Now I can enjoy. So he failed the test. You need a seat? There's some seats over here. To be more comfortable. Says, but for the devotee, some big problem. A problem which is, you can say, insurmountable. Like an ocean. We're just by the beach here. Anybody can swim to Tasmania? And oceans are insurmountable. Difficult things. It says for the devotee, even the ocean can be reduced like a small impression of a calf of a cow in the mud. You can easily step over that. So the problems don't go away, but they reduce. They become manageable. The devotee becomes stronger. So for them, it's not such a big problem anymore, because of their taking shelter in Krishna. They're putting 3 on 1 paper is cheating. So next time we're going to only 1 for paper, then we'll put it back in the bottom. How to develop a taste for reading about Krishna? So that's where the chanting, it says today, what are we reading? What was that in the reading in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 2nd chapter, was it the 17th verse or something? I don't remember the exact verse now. That by serving the pure devotees of Krishna, the affinity for hearing about Krishna, which I would presume includes reading about Krishna, unless one has some reading challenge. The desire, the taste for hearing about Krishna, the affinity for hearing about Krishna, that increases by serving the dedicated devotees of the Lord. So it's actually a secret for us to develop our taste. How much time we got?
20 minutes.
Hold on. 8. 8.5. How much time?
So 8:45 is fine. After that is critical.
What?
The doors are open till 9:15. The doors are open till
What they
9:15.
open?
Yeah, 9 o'clock it's open, but open till 9:15.
So we can
So about 5 minutes each. So give me a remind me. Thank you. Wapas lagi. Squeeze in. Is there a formal process if a disciple wants to take Siksha from another guru that's not their Diksha guru? Well, there's 2 kinds of Siksha. I mean, there's like just the informal Siksha where someone gives some guidance for practically practicing Krishna consciousness, but nothing very serious or just casual kind of guidance. That doesn't have any formalities. But if somebody wants to take someone as a Siksha guru, and in the absence of the Diksha guru, then the Siksha guru's instruction would also carry some special weight. as long as it didn't contradict the Diksha Guru's instruction, then the disciple would generally try to follow those instructions. If they have any doubt, they can always go back to the Diksha Guru. But in such a kind of a formal, Diksha Guru generally requires the permission of the Diksha Guru. Some Diksha Gurus give blanket permissions for everybody or for certain Gurus. But some kind of permission is, because what they're saying is that giving certain level of a power of attorney to the Diksha Guru. So that's why it takes a little. If a Diksha Guru is around, otherwise one can remember whatever teachings the Diksha Guru gave, and they take Diksha from somebody who they know is in harmony with their Diksha Guru. But Krishnadas Kaviraj, he had one Diksha Guru. Everybody has one Diksha Guru, so allowed to have more than one. And 6 Diksha Gurus. The 6 Diksha Gurus are Rupa, Sanatan, Bhatta Raghunath, Dasa Raghunath, Gopal Bhatta, and Jiva Goswami. So you have a good set of Diksha Gurus. How do you describe a differentiate between sleep state, conscious state, transcendental state? Chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Well, there's the sleeping, conscious, and then the dreaming state that we know about. In this material world, we go through those 3 states. So we're in deep sleep, and that's like a total unconscious. And we're sleeping, but we're dreaming, so the mind's working, and we're going in our samabhadi and experiencing different things. When we sleep, a certain amount of time is spent in deep sleep, and a certain amount of time is spent dreaming. And both are needed for resting. Prabhupada always advised us that the tradition was in the, I don't know if it's Ayurveda or what branch it comes under, but the tradition is that one should sleep with the head to the east or to the south. And it was interesting because somehow I read in one newspaper article that some scientists did a scientific experiment, putting brain scans on people who are sleeping in different directions to find out how that would affect the sleep. And amazingly, they found out that people with the head to the east or the south had normal dreaming and the proper deep rest. But people who slept in other directions, like mainly north, we know Ganesh, the head of the elephant was cut off because he slept to the north. Shiva said anybody who's stupid enough to sleep with their head to the north, they deserve to have their head cut off. Like everybody knows, you never sleep with your head to the north. So there was a poor elephant sleeping with the head to the north, and so he lost his head, and that became Ganesh's head. But I think when they design their flats, condominiums, they don't take these things into consideration. Many times when I go to people's houses, I had to sleep with my foot to their head of the bed, because they put their head in the wrong way. So that could affect. So these scientists, they did test it. Well, they had a theory that it was due to the electromagnetic field on the earth, and I don't know whether that theory is the reason or what was the reason, but what I found very interesting was that the conclusion was that it was best to sleep with your head to the east or to south, which was Prabhupada said. Now, as far as the transcendental state, that is a state of real awakening. Normally we're just experiencing everything through the body or through the mind. But when we are in the transcendental state, actually the soul, the Atma, is himself experiencing. So it's very important that we try to achieve this transcendental state of consciousness. Is that consciousness is directly connecting the soul with Krishna, so there's something very special. Water. Maharaj Prabhu. Would you please give me a practical help to overcome attachment to sense gratification? In other words, mind control. Thanking you. Could I help you? Why not? Somebody wants to overcome some attachment to sense gratification. There are means. That's part of our practice. How to get people more attached to Krishna. How to develop attachment to Krishna. That is very easy to detach. It's difficult for people to give up something unless they're getting something in exchange. Nobody likes to give up their sense gratification if that's they're dependent on that for some happiness. But if they have a higher taste in Krishna consciousness, then they can regulate sense gratification, they can dovetail it. In our Atlanta festival, we just had the Panihati festival. So many thousands, over 1,000 people came and were busily engaged in doing services for at least some time. So when we're busy in Krishna service, then there's no time for Maya. So it's why encouraging everyone, especially the initiated devotees, that they should not become complacent. It's better that everybody tries to give the mercy out. When we engage our mind in Krishna service, our body in Krishna service, our words in Krishna service, then naturally we'll want to talk about Krishna. Maybe a little air in. Hare Krishna Maharaj Ji. Is there a reason that a disciple would be ready to serve his spiritual master, even birth after birth. What do you think? What is that reason?
Love.
Love. So powerful. If you love your spiritual master, now if you're grateful to the spiritual master for his this will keep a little crack open. Srila Prabhupada, if there was, if you know that where he is preaching, say he was preaching right now in some solar system, so many 100 million light years from here, and some planet similar to Earth, which the scientists don't even know about. Or if he was on some higher celestial planet preaching, and there was asking, for some help. Anybody would like to go there and preach with him? Just a couple. There was once Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was walking with some disciples, and he stopped and he was looking at the moon. He was looking at the moon, He was like in a trance looking at the moon for a long time. Then he looked back and like everybody's like, looking at him like, what's happening? He said, they have become very materialistic on the moon planet. We must go there and preach to them. We must go there and preach Krishna consciousness. This is 1929 or something. He's talking about going to the moon planet. Obviously he's not talking about going by some jet propulsion. So, of course you can go back to Godhead, that's not so difficult, but if somebody wants one can like to go with the spiritual master because they love him, because they're grateful to him, because they feel indebted to him. I remember once I told Srila Prabhupada, I want to serve you life after life. I thought, I'm being really intelligent. I'm saying the right thing to my spiritual master. And then he looked at me and said, why do you want to make me come back? I thought, what did I say wrong? And I said, Prophet, I want to serve you even life after life. If the spiritual master wants me to serve him, if he wants me to stay here, wants me to do some service, I'm prepared to do that. I'm really, but not that I want to, make a unscheduled trip back. Just like how me. I have a separate agenda. So, many people feel, that Tamal Krishna Maharaj went ahead to open up some dynamic preaching program with Prabhupada somewhere. is always was the quickest one, to join. Of course, we had no way of knowing that he's back in the spiritual world. With Srila Prabhupada also. Sometimes I feel some obstacles driving certain activities. Is this a signal by Krishna preventing one from danger? But how do I understand these incidents and in my lives to come to a conclusion and analyze, to come to a conclusion to do that activity? It seems the basic question is how to analyze any obstacles to see if there's a signal. But there's a principle that you don't produce some service to Krishna which is going to be like what's the word used? Over-endeavor. In some very complicated situation, then we may analyze, is it worth trouble? Sometimes it can come to a conclusion that it's not worth it, it's an over-endeavor. So, some things are like that. So we see that whether an activity becomes so complicated that it's not working out, we should sometimes you have to discuss with the spiritual master to see how to analyze certain incidents. I know that in Bangladesh I have a disciple who was Hindu, and he was the number 2 professor in a college. And then he got promoted or got offered a promotion to become the principal of the college. But then he thought, as the principal of college, and with that a big responsibility, be some maybe obstacle in my spiritual practices. So he refused, without consulting with his guru or with anybody. Because to be the Hindu principal of a college in Bangladesh is a big thing, It's really tremendous possibility for utilizing that position for expanding the preaching. But he wanted to avoid what he perceived as a hassle. But because the number 3 professor then was promoted, and the number 3 professor was always afraid because in seniority he's junior. Anytime the other person, if he changes his mind, maybe he can take over his position. So he always was feeling insecure. So he did a massive politics against the number 2 teacher who he superseded. So get him out of the kala, so he was false cases, got his job taken away by all kinds. It was finally for 12 years he was in the court fighting out all these false cases. And finally, after something like 12 or 15 years, he was victorious, and 1 year before he retired, he was reinstated, and then he retired. So sometimes you run away from things, and you don't really analyze. So the analyzing is quite important, but that you have to do not just, whimsically or emotionally, but really have to analyze the pros and cons, whether it can be used for Krishna service or not. And if it can be, just because it's material, we shouldn't reject it. So the principles of Rupa Goswami. Don't reject something because it's material if you can use it for Krishna service. Anything you can use for Krishna service then becomes spiritualized. That has to be consulted with Senior Vaishnava. It is said that envy is the one thing we can't use in spiritual life, and that we should avoid completely this envy. But Rupa Goswami talks about envy and nectar of devotion. Can you explain more about this? And how can we avoid feeling envious with others? Well, nectar of devotion. Andy, if they want to ask a question about the scriptures, but there's a scripture there. Well, generally speaking, we can't dovetail. Yes, you can dovetail anger. You can be angry for Krishna. Somebody wants to break up the temple, like harm the temple, some person, some thief comes in, could be angry at him and arrest him. Greed, you want to get really nice clothes for Krishna too. Most things you can dovetail like that directly in Krishna service, but envy is something that's very difficult to dovetail that. Therefore we're advised to avoid envy. But maybe in some higher platform there are some things that appear like envy, but actually they're pure. Or Krishna, it appears like he was envious against Rukma when he shaved, gave him a weird head shave and things like that. But this is where Krishna is reciprocating with somebody else's envy. Actually, Krishna doesn't have envy. There's nothing that somebody else has that Krishna doesn't have. So he doesn't have to envy everybody. We are to give up all desires. The prayer not to have rebirth. Is it also not a kind of desire? First of all, we're not supposed to give up all desires. We're only supposed to give up the Maya desires. The devotees have desire. They have feelings. They have desire for serving Krishna. They have desire. They may have desire for so many things. Having a nice outfit for Krishna Janmashtami, improving the Sunday feast program, having a big festival in the park. There are so many desires we want to have. Desires are, as long as we're alive, we're going to be thinking, feeling, and willing. So we can't avoid the desire. So we want to purify our desires and make our desires transcendent. As far as the prayer not to have rebirth, can also be a desire. That's why it said there's three kinds of people. Akamo, moksha, akamo, mokshakamo, akamo, sarvakamo, mokshakamo, udaradi, tirvena, bhakti yogena, chijeta purusham param. Somebody who has no desires, that means, it doesn't mean actually they have no desire, that means they have no separate desire from Krishna. Whatever their desires they have are harmonious with Krishna, therefore they don't have any material desires. Then someone has all kinds of material desires. Then there's one who's having desire for liberation. They don't want to serve Krishna, they just want to get out of the material world, end it, and be liberated. That's called sarva, kama. All kinds of it. Once you have some material desire, you have all kinds. So we're going to purify our desires and have spiritual ones. Because yes, other desires also can be affected by Maya. But if we're doing something purely for Krishna, then it's definitely transcendental. That's why the pure devotees don't even ask for liberation, it's asked to serve Krishna. Maharaja Ji. If you can explain more about difference between Lord, can you explain more about the difference between Lord Vishnu and Krishna? Krishna is the original, Vishnu is the expansion of 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 Krishna. Vishnu is responsible for the material world, and Krishna Vishnu is a part of Krishna. Vishnu and Krishna are not different, but then Krishna he wants to see people be attracted. Krishna has 64 qualities and Vishnu has 60. Vishnu is responsible for the maintenance of the material world, where Krishna is the Lord of all universes. There's so many differences. And yet they're not different, they're the same person. But Vishnu is just doing a certain part of Krishna's services. He generally doesn't do all. Always remember Lord Sri Krishna and never forget Him. In preaching to atheists, how many different methodologies are there? Or is it more advised to keep our distance and just feed them prasadam? Generally in the beginning it's better to feed them prasadam, get them to read Prabhupada's books, get them to attend some classes, ask questions to the senior devotee. As far as how many different methods there are to preach to atheists, I don't know if there's any limit to that. But generally, Madhyamakaris, they avoid the atheists, and they many different types of methods are there. We shouldn't talk to the Mayavadis. Prabhupada said if you find that somebody's like really hardcore Mayavadi, then you can just try to engage them more in service, and gradually by prasadam and service will change their heart. They'll appreciate what is devotional service. So it depends how hardcore Mayavadi they are. My dear Gurudev, please let us know about the installation of the new deities in Mayapur. What are the upcoming events in ISKCON? Where is the next trip? And other programs with ISKCON. Yours in service of Krishna. How many saw the VCD of the video CD of the installation? Maybe my secretary can arrange for showing after this. For those who haven't seen it. Or tomorrow, I don't know which is the best time. I don't have it. Tomorrow's better? This year, starting at Prabhupada's Vyas Puja and Janmashtami, Prabhupada's next appearance day is his 108th appearance day. And the 108th anniversary, there's so many different things that have been planned all around the year. And especially every temple wants to have a fabulous Gaur Purnima and or put on gently. So that's part of that 108th anniversary of Prabhupada. We're going to have a special program in Mayapur next Gaur Purnima, inviting all the followers of Prabhupada, as many as possible, to come. And we're expecting a lot of Prabhupada disciples to be there and a lot of devotees to be there. We're going to have 5 days of Prabhupada Leela Smaran from different Prabhupada disciples sharing their experiences and realizations. So it's going to be something very exciting. Also have one day for the Abhishek. So it's promising to be a super festival next year. As far as other events, I think there's a Srila Prabhupada 108 or Prabhupada 108 website, which tells all the events of the year for the Prabhupada 108. Lokanath Maharaj is the chief coordinator. I'm one of the members of the steering committee. But just offhand, I can't remember all the things. But of course, there will be many big festivals coming up with so it's going to be a very exciting year. We have this. Apart from that, there's a lot of general Different Wars Festival, Russia. Ukraine has a big festival inside. All the standard festivals are going on this year, but starting from the Janmashtami and Vyaspuja, the 108th anniversary is something very special for everybody. Envy from Nectar of Devotion. In the Padyavali, one of the friends of Radharani once addressed her thus: "My dear friend, please do not be too puffed up, because Krishna has decorated your forehead with his own hand. It may be that Krishna is not yet attracted by some other beautiful girl. I see the decoration on your forehead is very nicely made. So it appears that Krishna was not too disturbed in making it, in painting it. Otherwise he could not have passed such exact lines." This is an instance of envy caused by Radha's good fortune. In the 10th canto, 13th chapter, verse 30 of Srimad Bhagavatam is the following statement. When the gopis were searching for Krishna and Radha after the rasa dance, they thus began to speak among themselves. We have seen the footprints of Krishna and Radha on the ground of Vrindavan, and they are giving us great pains. Because although Krishna is everything to us, that girl is so cunning that she has taken him to the Lord. We have seen the footprints of Krishna and Radha on the ground of Vrindavan. They're giving us great pain because although Krishna is everything to us, the girl is so cunning that she has taken him away alone. So on. So there was some envy of the good fortune of Radharani. Sometime when the cowherd boys used to play in the forest of Vrindavan, Krishna would play on one side, and Balaram would play on the other. There would be competition, mock fighting between the two parties. And when Krishna's party was defeated by Balaram's, the boys would say, if Balaram party remains victorious, then who in the world can be weaker than ourselves? This is another instance of envy and ecstatic love. Where? When one becomes malicious upon seeing another's advancement of life, his state of mind is generally called envy. So this maliciousness, what the examples that they were malicious. But out of love for Krishna, the point is here, the envy was there, but envy was a small thing. What was really big was their attachment to Krishna. You know, this gopis got more mercy, that gopis got more mercy, that group of cowherd boys, they defeated us, but they're very weakly. How we can be defeated, we don't know. So the predominant thing was actually they were attached to Krishna. They wanted to so a little envy, if its motive is a very deep attachment to Krishna, may not be a big obstacle. But generally, in material world, envy is something different, right? Where somebody is malicious against another person, wants to pull them down, but not because of any service to Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama.
Where's the cartel bay? And outside there's some Narsingha oil. You got a few minutes from Narsingha oil. This is from the Abhishek of Lord Nrsimhadev in Mayapur on Nrsimha Chaturdasi. If you put this on your forehead, it's supposed to help to remove obstacles in your path of Krishna consciousness. But I can't guarantee you'll take another birth again by doing that. You'll not be able to take birth again, so take this at your own risk. Make through lines. Thank you all very much. Somebody's asked where I've been. I was in Mayapur for this Nrsimha festival on the 5th of May, and on the 5th and the 6th morning I left for we flew to Delhi and I met Gopal Krishna Maharaj there. Then went to the Middle East, and from the Middle East we went to Munich, Germany, where we were also doing another Nrsimha Day festival with the Nrsimha Day lady there. It was very nice. Then we went to some spring festival at New Talabone in Mississippi. Then we went, we're transiting in Washington, D.C., and we I'll tell you the rest, but I'll be here tomorrow and also Monday. I'm also going to have some time to meet with devotees. So those devotees that want to meet with me.
How are you?
You should see who. Kalpa Chaitanya, it's like Kalpa Chaitanya. After that, we went to Mexican Rath Yatra, which was very nice. After Mexican Rath Yatra, we did a Ramhat program in Sacramento and a temple program in Berkeley.
What did you do about the farm? I'm really tired.
So we went to South America, to Lima, Peru, and also to Ecuador, and also to Bogota, Colombia. Then we went to Los Angeles to the Prabhupada Festival. We had a Pani Hati Festival in San Diego. With over
Taken?
With your camera.
Where were you all this time?
I was outside.
You were playing.
I was talking to him. I looked at a hamster.
Then we had went to Long Island.
You were before this, what you call,
in New York. And I was in Atlanta for the Pani Hati Festival. And we had another festival. We went to Boise, Idaho. And then we came to Sydney. For 2 days I was in Sydney, now I'm here for 3 days. So from here I go to Malaysia for 3 days. Then I go back to Calcutta for the Rath Yatra Festival.
And then just up
Radhika Priya. One more. Ask mommy to go and one more.
What?
Mommy to go and take it. Okay, I will take video.
What, this?
Yes, yes.
What's mommy? Where's she? Monday you put on. Yeah.
Maharaja.
Oh, you got plenty of sugar
Go to the right side. On the right side.
No, I don't want